Hello everyone, how's it going? In this video, we will talk about MULLEN, trading under the ticker symbol MULN. MULLEN has been a very interesting company to trade recently, with high volatilities and also many projects that may fuel future speculations. At the same time, it's a company that the market tends to not trust too much with the capital, especially when it comes to long-term investment. So, in today's video, we will go through the latest fundamentals, the price actions, and my analysis, as well as recommendation to hopefully see what is the best course of action to carry out regarding MULLEN. If you appreciate my content, please consider to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out the links in the description, as every help is greatly appreciated. Over the past few days, MULLEN went down from 88 cents to 70 cents. The closest support level is at 68 cents. Over the past month, the support has been tested twice and is also aiming for the same number of times over the past 6 months. The stock has already been under significant selling pressure from November 2021 to nowadays, mainly because people in the market and the market at large lost hope and interest in the stock. The shareholders are mostly retail, and they tend to come in and out very quickly. The volume of MULLEN shares has been around 30 million shares on average, with periodic peaks around 80 million shares. What it means is that the title is actively traded, certainly, but with a lot more sellers looking to unload the positions. Also, it may not be enough to push it upward. For example, I believe that we need north of 100 million shares in order to push it above where it is now, but clearly the interest has not reached that level just yet. Another aspect to look at is the options market. Currently, there are more call contracts being transferring hands at a strike price of $1, suggesting that the market consensus believes that MULLEN will increase its price in the near future. This is obviously just one indicator out of many to look at, which indicates more of a general mood rather than pointing us to a real direction. I think that one of the most important reasons that may work for this theory is that MULLEN will probably do everything in their power to remain on the Nasdaq, despite the fact that they may not have much power to influence this outcome. So the overall profile of MULLEN obviously has attracted more volatile shareholder base, as more people tend to trade in and out of these positions, which increase the level of noise in the stock before a clear trend might get identified, and when it does, the price action puts its emphasis on a clear downtrend as the liquidity has been squeezed out of MULLEN. What we need to see now is whether the company can hold its price level above 70 cents, and if it can, stabilize here first, then test the prices of 80 cents and $1, which will then contribute to restoring confidence in the stock market. MULLEN is a publicly traded company operating in the EV sector, and it is listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. The company designs, manufactures, and sells a range of electric vehicles, including car, buses, and trucks. One of the key factors setting MULLEN apart from the EV sector is the focus on developing long-range electric vehicles. M115 is a long-range electric truck that the company is trying to develop and eventually to manufacture. It has a significantly longer range than most other vehicles currently on the market, making it an attraction option for people who would like to invest eventually in this massive potential success. Another thing is that they are investing in developing heavy-duty electric vehicles, such as buses and trucks, designed to handle heavy loads and perform demanding work. This is a unique offering in the EV market, where most other companies are focused on developing cars and light-duty vehicles. In terms of financial performance, however, the company has been having a hard time generating income and consequently digging itself a large financial hole that they have to fill every time with further dilution. In terms of the long-term price action trends, despite the recent upward momentums such as IGO distributions, the company has been having a mostly bearish trend over the past 5 years, first trading between $5 to $10, peaking at $15, before finally falling back to below $1. What this suggests is that MULLEN has been hard hit by not only the market downfall, but also its own fundamental weaknesses. This assessment recently begun to change, but I would say that it hasn't reached a convincing turning point, and that to a point, it still explains why MULLEN is a stock I would recommend to trade instead of investing in. Regardless of the recent distribution contract or the short squeeze potentials, the short interest surrounding MULLEN remains real, and that the interest surrounding MULLEN, period, remains the expectation to scalp a quick gain. With that being said, I also want to add that things can always change within this sector. So if today I say that MULLEN shouldn't be a stock that you invest in, maybe 6 months from now things could be different. The online communities have been initially skeptical towards MULLEN. Nowadays, it's mostly something that follows the trend. So for example, if things are looking good, they will find the positive aspects of MULLEN and to say that, you know what, this is why it's been going well. Or if things are plummeting, they're going to say, well, you know what, like such and such reason is the reason why they're doing poorly. And you will also have a small group of fans who will always find reasons for optimism, regardless of how desperate sometimes the situation may be. As far as their online footprint is concerned overall, the biggest factor to consider is whether the price action gives people enough motivation to have a position in MULLEN. The other factors have sometimes served as a pretext to buy its shares, but more often than not, the price action has already sent that price signal to the market to react positively. On top of that, the macroeconomic trends affecting the sector have also been putting pressure on the stock price, including the increase of interest rates, the capital flight from growth stocks to other sectors, the conflicts around the world, the supply chain issues, and the expectation of a demand that will be softer than usual. And this is going to continue over the next couple of years due to a recession. Another factor to look at is how the flagship company in the sector, so in this case Tesla, has been doing. The EV sector being a relatively new industry, a lot of it is still in development, including the investor's mentality. People often determine whether they want to buy EV stocks based on how Tesla has been doing recently. The idea here is to profit from a sector-wide gravy train conducted by Tesla, pulling all the other ones behind it. We have seen on multiple occasions how the share price of a company like NIO, Lucid, XPeng, or MULLEN follows similar trends compared to Tesla. Of course, MULLEN doesn't always follow the trend, but it has played in its favor, but also the other way around. So we have to be mindful of those factors because they will definitely paint the picture of the surrounding environment in a specific direction. With that being said, let's also take a look at MULLEN's financials, which might give us some hints about the decisions that the company has to take in the upcoming periods. One thing to note about its financials, it's not generating income for the moment, but we know for a fact that they are currently distributing IGOs in Europe. So this will eventually change with the upcoming reports. The other issue is the cash reserve. So I personally believe that MULLEN is a company that has to rely on continued capital injection by selling its equity to continue its going concern. This is concerning to say the least, but in my opinion, this is going to continue for the foreseeable future. In other words, the retail interest has to be significantly larger than the dilution that will be announced in order for us to make money. So like I said before, the fundamentals don't necessarily help MULLEN. They are currently a dead weight that will eventually push the price down. But if we rely on qualitative factors, things that are beyond the immediate reality, but if we project the company to a brighter future, then it's possible that a large number of people might pile in and buy the stock up. This is the kind of behavior we're expecting to see if we decide to invest or to trade MULLEN. Because in terms of trading, MULLEN actually has a very good shareholder structure. So they have a mostly retail shareholder base. And what this means is that they will be far more volatile than typical stocks. Of course, I know that BlackRock recently increased their holdings, but this is not doing it for me. That alone doesn't mean much, personally. So, the lack of significant institutional participation means that I personally don't want to put money in for the long term. The key behavioral difference between institutional and retail shareholders is their investment horizon. Institutional buyers tend to stay for longer term, with years or decades as the measurement, whereas people who are in as retail, they tend to get in and out very quickly. Sometimes after a few days or weeks, they might already be gone. So, the short squeeze seems to be the massive catalyst that we are dealing with at the moment, and this is something that can present excellent opportunities for us. So currently, there is a significant position, around 40 million shares, that are being shorted against MULLEN. The majority of them are traded outside of public exchanges, so therefore by institutionals. The potential of the short squeeze in this case is significant. The short squeeze is a phenomenon that is observed when traders decide collectively to buy up the price of a stock, forcing those who are holding the shares to redeem them. The reason why they may have to do this is because they want to avoid further losses. So the redemption would act as a further wave of purchases, pushing the stock even higher. So it's important to note that regardless of how many stars are aligned on paper, the short squeeze itself may never happen, just because there are a number of factors outside of anyone's control that will determine if the short squeeze is something that will occur. My conclusion regarding MULLEN is to stay on the side and wait for the prices to stabilize, while we also need to see a significant volume increase before we can think about a potential entry. For now, it's better to keep MULLEN on our short list without really committing additional capital in the current price dynamics.